back again for some reason, Gents Scents.
All right. I own hundreds of cheap fragrances, thousands of cheap fragrances. My wife says I have a problem. I call it variety. The divorce lawyer calls it evidence. I went to TJ Maxx and I asked the cashier, what does this fragrance smell like? And he told me about 13 bucks. He was right. It smells cheap, that's what I meant. And speaking about cheap fragrances, I bought a clone fragrance the other day, and I can't even tell the difference between that and the original. Oh my God. Because I've never smelled the original before. That's why I can't tell. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents Scents. I am essentially a stand-up comedian. Now you may not believe this, but I own a ridiculous amount of fragrances and have somehow smelled even more than I own. And I want to let you know, you do not have to spend a huge amount of money to smell freaking amazing. And today I'm proving that point with 15 different cheap fragrances that will have you smelling like a king. All of these are going to be linked in the description. Feel free to check them out down there. All of this stuff is available at discounters, and if you want it cheap, that's where you need to shop. I know 99% of you already know that, but for the 1%, you want to shop at discounters. If you try to look these up at full retail or Perfumania or something like that, it's probably going to be fairly expensive, comparatively speaking. And I try to throw a whole bunch of fragrances in here that I don't talk about as often. Like this one, Pepe Jeans London Calling. You're looking at about $30 for this fragrance online, and it smells great. Perfect for fall and winter time, good for spring also. It's got a really interesting opening, fresh and sweet. You have plum in there and the note of chutney, which is not very common. Also has lavender and vanilla as it dries down. This one's a little bit reminiscent to something like Stronger With You Intensely, but there are differences. This one has more of that emphasis again on fruit off the top. Also has more of a freshness, as I said before. And Stronger With You Intensely is gonna be a little cozier and at the same time, louder. It has more of that thick sweetness as it dries down. This stuff is great for the price point, again, about $30. You can get a ton of use out of this, and nobody's really wearing Pepe jeans, which is probably because they tell you right on the bottle not to be taken. They don't want you to take and wear this. That's definitely what that means. Don't Google that. I already told you what it means. You don't need to look that up. They are directly telling you they don't want you to own it. Then of course there's this Bvlgari Man Wood Neroli, which you can find online about $40 or so, which I know is not like the cheapest of them all, but still, it's not really expensive. And this one is great for spring, summer, early fall. Really good daytime fragrance, extremely clean. As it says right there on the front, wood and Neroli, gonna be two of the main notes. Neroli gives you kind of a citrusy, clean aspect. Could remind you of a lot of other Neroli forward fragrances, like Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford, possibly even a little bit of like Mugler cologne, you know, stuff kind of in that vibe. Just very classy, slightly soapy and elegant, while still being modern and masculine. This whole Bvlgari Man line at this point, other than maybe Man in Black, is a little bit under the radar as far as what your average person is wearing. Now, obviously people into fragrances, they know about this stuff, but somebody who's just hopping into Sephora or Macy's looking for the new Sauvage or the new Bleu de Chanel or whatever, they may not be aware. And for what you pay to get that online, it's a good deal. It's a pretty good deal. It's pretty good. I want to talk Mercedes next, and when I say Mercedes, everybody thinks, Club Black, but that's not what we're talking about today. But I will say Club Black, for the price, yeah, I mean, realistically, yeah, it's really good. We're talking a different one. We're talking AMG Black Thrill. Kind of an interesting bottle design here. Has this little built-in atomizer with the clip on there, reminiscent of like Spice Bomb or the Le Male fragrances. And the atomizer is decent enough. And it's kind of funny, BMW, or if you're German, what is it, BMW, something like that, is coming out with their own fragrances, M fragrances, very soon. So I guess they're gonna compete against these AMGs. Now in terms of the note breakdown here, you've got mandarin orange, you have some clary sage as it dries down, amber, woods, tonka, and leather. So fairly simple note breakdown. It's got a little sweetness in there, but it's not overdone. It has more of an aromatic feel to it, you know, a little bit classier, but also some warmth as it dries down. This is that kind of changing of the seasons vibe is what it gives across, you know, fall heading into winter. Would work great in either season though. And I'd say you could wear it during the spring as well, like early spring before it starts to warm up a whole lot. Longevity is solid. It does fluctuate in price slightly, but you can usually find this for under $40. And at that price point, it's actually really good. Let's go Davidoff up next. Cool Water Parfum. So with this one, a lot of people go, whatever, cool water. And yes, it does have some similarities to Dior's Sauvage in terms of how this comes across, but it is also really, really affordable. So it's the type of fragrance that you can wear all year round. You don't have to pay out the nose for, and it has an established scent profile, DNA, that people love. So you already know going in, you can wear it whenever you want. Note breakdown, super simple, like citrus, pink pepper, vetiver. That's about the gist of it. It's not quite as ambroxany as Sauvage is. It's a little bit more reined in, or I should say it's not quite as metallic. That's probably a better way to describe it. It's basically just a cheap fragrance that you can wear whenever you want that has pretty good performance that people are gonna love. So it just ticks a lot of boxes for people. You know, it's not that kind of thing that's trying to be artistic. It's not trying to do anything pushing boundaries. It's just trying to get worn. And aren't we all just trying to get worn? This next one is for my dudes that want to throw it back. So this is, wait, that sounds weird. Throw it back, brother. No, not like that. This is for my guys who want to throw back to earlier fragrance styles. Azzaro Visit. So yeah, when you hear Azzaro, nowadays everybody thinks the most wanted, but this one is just sitting out there waiting to be worn. It is a bit reminiscent of the discontinued fragrance Gucci Rush. Also has kind of a cool bottle, I feel like, because it has the built-in atomizer, and as you saw, it works pretty well. Now this is gonna be a dry, woody fragrance. That's the vibe that you're getting from this. Not really sweet. This one opens up with fresh spices. You have cardamom, ginger, nutmeg, pink pepper, all off the top, gaiac wood, cedar as it dries down, incense as well. So it gives you this scent profile that is dry, woody, lightly smoky, spicy, not really sweet, super classy, masculine, and is going to appeal more to guys middle-aged and up. And that's because it definitely does have that like late 90s, early 2000s kind of vibe to it, which I think smells great. The next fragrance is one that used to be very difficult to find, but now you can find it without too much trouble for a low price. But before we get to that one, I want to give you guys codes that can bring prices down even more. We are dipping down into the subterranean levels here. Here are the codes. JOMASHOP only works within the app. Frag Flex, the perfume box. Also Gift Express, now the code GENTS10 for 10% off. Also Lucky Scent has given us a code, so if you're hankering for some niche, use that there. On to the next fragrance, which is another Mercedes-Benz. It's this one, Club Extreme. I had to get one of the club fragrances in here, and I figured might as well give this one a little love since, you know, Club Black is always the one getting the love. And this one is really nice. It's vaguely similar to something like Pure Malt by Mugler, which has been discontinued for a long time. It has amber, leather, patchouli, some citrus in there. This one has a great balance of warm and sweet. So it's not like too far in either direction. And it also has that really classy, sexy edge to it. This stuff, fall and winter time, very, very good. And another one that's way under the radar. Marwa up next. There's only 2 clones in this list. This is one of them. It smells similar to Imagination by Louis Vuitton, which is a great fragrance. Imagination is fantastic. It's also crazy expensive. And a lot of the aura around Imagination is built on flexing on people at this point that you have imagination. So it's like the fragrance has taken on a life of itself. It's almost like back in the day when people would flex on each other with the Ventus batches. Be like, oh, your batch of Aventus sucks. I paid $550 more than you paid for yours to get this superior batch. Loser! I can't enjoy my fragrances. So this is gonna give you that imagination vibe, citrusy, clean, fresh, slightly soapy, really good in spring and summer, the quality much higher than you would expect, and the atomizer, really good. You can use it for chemical warfare. You can spray just a few times and fill up the whole room. If you got somebody who's like allergic to fragrances or has reactions, you can do them in. I don't suggest that. Don't do that. An intriguing looking bottle up next, Rochas Man Intense. Cool. You can find this one online for sub $40, so that's nice. And it's one of the better inexpensive coffee fragrances out there. More specifically, this one is cappuccino. There is a good amount of lavender in here as well, though. A little bit of citrus and woody notes also, so it's not just cappuccino, but you do have that vanilla, lightly powdery kind of sweetness as it dries down that kind of adds to that cappuccino vibe instead of having it lean into a roast coffee bean or something like that. When you really drill down to what this one is about, though, it is about that balance of, as I mentioned before, the lavender and the cappuccino. So that lavender gives you a classically masculine touch. It keeps things a little bit clean, gives you a slight freshness off the top. Then as it dries down, you get a little more of that sweetness coming out and just a hint of that coffee. But it's done in a really nice way. The quality is good. And it's another one where if you know, you know. The next fragrance is one I have always loved, Starwalker by Montblanc. Stuff is great, absolutely fantastic, but it is not the type of fragrance that you wear heavily if you're trying to get a ton of compliments. Now, I'm not saying that it smells bad. That's not what I meant by that. It's just this is not a fragrance that's made to, you know, grab attention every time you go out. Instead, it is relaxing, it's comforting, it smells of much higher quality than you would expect. It has a bamboo note in there that works fantastically, like a little bit water spritzed, lightly green, slightly sweet, just really appealing. And a lot of people, as I've mentioned before talking about this fragrance, will actually wear it to bed or like spritz their bed with the scent. And that's because it just chills you out. It's relaxing, it smells great. L'Homme Ideal, the original by Guerlain. This one you can find online about 40 bucks or so. So it's a little more expensive than some of the others, but it's still worth it. This is the one that kicked the whole line off. Everybody nowadays, you know, they're wearing the Eau de Parfum, they're wearing the Extreme, but the original is still really good. And the presentation has changed nowadays. It doesn't have like the black edges to the bottle anymore. I think they look better back then. Yeah, the originals are better. So this one has citrus, it has almond, it has tonka, a little bit of leather. It's a 3-season fragrance for me: fall, winter, spring, day or night. And this one does a great job of balancing out sweetness and classiness at the same time. Because it's hard to have a fragrance that's really classy and potentially elegant smelling and refined if it also is giving you diabetes. This one gives you enough of that sweetness to keep people coming around, to keep people interested, but it also knows when to rein it in. That's why it smells so good. Explorer up next by Montblanc. So 2 Montblanc fragrances in here. Just the original Explorer, of course, smells a little bit similar to Aventus. And there are a number of Aventus style fragrances out there, of course, you know, Club de Nuit Intense Man, some of the off-non supremacy fragrances have an Aventus style to them. Baldi Serini Signature, Mercedes-Benz Select. So you got a lot of different Aventus type things out there. There's like dozens I didn't even mention, but this is probably, outside of Club de Nuit Intense Man, the most popular one, and for good reason. It's got a nice spiciness to it, a nice freshness as well. It's got a little citrus in there, gonna give you kind of a pineapple-y-esque vibe, and then clean modern woods as it dries down, just super easy to wear year-round. Basically, you can have that as a staple in your collection, something that doesn't cost much that you can wear whenever you want. Capricorn up next. This one is by French Avenue, part of their Genesis collection, and this one is not gonna be for everybody. Not that the fragrance smells bad, just that it has a really pungent incense, like a smoky incense. Actually, quality-wise, this one is way up there for the price that you pay. It's just you have to like some of that churchy incense. Some people do. Some people during fall and winter time, they will wear it out. Other people will smell it and be like, I don't really want to smell like that. It's drawn some comparisons to Maison Martin Margiela's By the Fireplace, and it's similar to that, but definitely, like I said, has more of an emphasis on that incense than By the Fireplace does. In terms of quality though, this stuff outside of its league as far as price. So is this one, Bentley for Men Absolute. Gonna be another fall, wintertime staple. Of course, Bentley for Men Intense got a lot of hype back in the day, but this one is just as good. That one has ginger, olibanum, and papyrus as some of the notes in the fragrance. Also cedar, oud, and amber. When I heard papyrus, made me think Undertale. What? And that one smells similar to a discontinued fragrance, which is up there somewhere, Gucci Pour Homme. So you can get a smell similar to that fragrance, which is nowadays hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars if you can find a bottle. And that one right there instead is like between 30 and 40. Trussardi Riflesso is next. This one has kind of an iffy looking bottle, not the most attractive one I've ever seen. You could like take a spoon and drag it across and like have a washboard kind of effect, I guess. Like the sound. It smells kind of similar to La Nuit Alone, so it's gonna get you right in that wheelhouse, that style. Oof. Really appealing, nice little aromatic hint to it. Not too sweet, fresh, classy, and it deepens up as it dries down. This stuff, really versatile, very overlooked. Trussardi has a few decent fragrances. They haven't really released anything big in a long time, but this one is worth seeking out. And then we're gonna finish with Chrome Pure. Like Frank in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he just wants to be pure.
Nope.
This one has kind of an interesting vibe to it. Citrus, aquatic notes, tonka, a little orange blossom in there as well. Kind of like walks the line between creamy and fresh and sweet all at the same time. And it's actually a surprisingly good fragrance. It's one where you maybe don't smell it for a while, you come back to it, and every time you're just like like it stands out in the chrome lineup, because a lot of chrome fragrances are just kind of out of the shower, grab spray go, like shower gel freshies. But this one has a little more going on. Really good. There we go. There's the lineup right there. All of these you can get for very affordable prices online from discounters, and each one of these will have you smelling great in their own different way. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.